The Lapland Arctic Ultra is known as one of the toughest, coldest ultramarathons in the world.
There's always a concern about hypothermia.
It takes place in winter in the far north of Sweden, just above the Arctic Circle.
If you start to see things that aren't there, it's not a good sign.
Every year, a small group of endurance athletes attempt it. But along the way, they must face freezing cold,
Frostbite and hypothermia could lead to your death.
icy and snowy trails, hunger and sleep deprivation and exhaustion for 500 kilometers non-stop. I'm here in the Arctic to run a 300-mile ultramarathon. And for the next, well, up to 10 days, I'll be trying to find my way around the forests of northern Sweden in the ice and snow. I came here to do this race last year. I was hoping to finish the 185 kilometer distance. It's about just over 100 miles, which is the shorter distance. I got out there on the trail with my dog, Wheelock, and I was really hoping to finish the race with him. But 100 kilometers in, unfortunately, he sustained a minor paw injury that prevented him from continuing, and I had to scratch with him. This race has been on my mind for an entire year since then, and I just feel like I need to come and redeem myself. I need to finish this race this year. So this is the whole kit that should last me 10 days out in the wild, in the Arctic, in the winter. And now I need to just figure out a way to pack it all onto what looks like actually a very small sled. This race is a so-called self-sufficient race, which basically means that you need to bring all of your stuff with you. So everything you need to survive, all your food, your tent, your sleeping bag, all of your clothes, everything that you'll need for 10 days, you need to be hauling it with you. So let's just go through it all again and make sure that I have everything. Tent, snow pegs, so you kind of bury them in the snow. This is my sleeping situation. I'll be melting snow for water and then heating it up so that I can make my meals and make my food every day. So this is the pot that I'll be using, fuel, and like a multi-fuel stove. Now, here's the problem. If you spill any of this stuff on your fingers while you're setting it up, it's basically like instant frostbite. So you have to be super careful with this stuff. Here's my medical kit. Part of the challenge is remembering where things are inside the big bag. I'm not a very organized person, as you can probably tell by now, which does make my life a little harder sometimes. And then on top of this, we've got my Arctic bedding. And I know this looks kind of like a very neon green coffin. That's kind of what it is, in a sense. So this piece of gear is called Arctic bedding, and basically it kind of contains your entire bedding setup. So your sleeping mat and then your sleeping bag, so that you don't have to set up your sleeping bag every single morning and then every single evening. You can basically just open this up and kind of slide into it. Super convenient, but it's also ridiculously huge. Ugh. I'll be doing this every single morning out on the trail, just so you know. I'm gonna say around 15 kilograms, I think. Maybe more. Josh, you wanna try? What do you think?
Yeah, like 17 maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's not light.
No.
It's definitely not light.
You know, I feel like I'm pretty good generally with kind of dealing with failure. there have been so many adventures and races that I've scratched. Like, you know, this is not new. I have failed before and I've been okay with it. But there's something about having scratched last year that is really playing on my mind a lot. I feel like it's because I felt really good. I felt like I could keep going. But of course, I didn't, because I needed to be there for my dog. I needed to take care of him. So I feel like it's that feeling where you know you could have kept going, but due to other circumstances, you had to stop. And I feel like there's that little niggling like sense of, I don't know, is it like pride or an unfinished business? Where like I just knew I had to come back and do it again. Failing again is probably my biggest source of anxiety this year. I think that's the thing I'm worried about the most. This is Juan Carr's cabin. We're gonna go and see how he's doing. Hello.
You can.
Ah,
Hello.
thank you. How's it going?
All home.
¿Qué pasa?
¿Qué pasa?
Can we come in?
Yes, you can.
Great. Let's go.
You're all home.
Hey.
Small bag.
Yo soy Juan Carlos Jimeno, vengo de España, tengo 29 años, soy entrenador personal en Madrid, me dedico a sacar la mejor versión de gente de todo el mundo y como persona que le gusta superarse, pues vi este reto y aquí estoy para buscar mi mejor versión. Mis sensaciones son buenas, pero sé que va a ser el mayor reto al que me he enfrentado en la vida. He hecho maratón de sables, otra gran prueba en el desierto del Sáhara, que acabé muy bien, pero sin duda esto para mí, que soy de España, soy de Teruel, que es una ciudad fría, pero aún así este frío ártico con nieve nunca me he encontrado, además de toda la supervivencia y todo lo que implica tener que superar este reto.
Tell me, do you have a tent? Or this is your tent?
This is my tent.
That is your tent.
This is my tent.
This is your sleeping bag.
A sleeping bag, tent. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Here's the mat, food, thermos, energy supplement,
Yeah.
camelback,
Oh, nice.
Soto.
Okay, how many kilograms for your sled?
More or less 15.
15.
Yeah,
Okay.
more or less 15.
Yo me siento fuerte, la verdad que es clave cuando enfrentas un reto, sentirte bien, la mente lo es todo. Para mí en esta carrera lo más importante es la mente, más que el físico, evidentemente tener buen físico, pero la cabeza cuando lleguen momentos de dolor, pues seguir y avanzar y intentar motivarte a ti mismo.
You know, I feel like at the start of any race, and especially a race like this, it's kind of hard to imagine what you're going to go through. Day one is always easy. Day one is the exciting day. Everything is new, everything feels fresh, you're still, you know, well rested and well fed. But once you start getting towards day 3, day 4, that's where the exhaustion starts creeping in. That's where you start to get that hunger that just cannot be satisfied. That's where you get cold and wet and you're, you know, out there on the trail for another night, walking on your own in the dark, completely by yourself. I feel like that's where you start getting into like the thick of it, you know? So it takes time. I feel like you have to give it time. You have to really want to be out on the trail for that long to kind of find those other pieces of yourself that you've never met before. This is not easy. It's not supposed to be easy though. The whole point of doing challenges like this is that they are hard. I want to show you something. This here is the map of the entire course, which honestly, it feels a little bit intimidating to look at. Like you're just looking technically at like a satellite picture of the Earth with some lines drawn through it, but then you realize just how much of a distance this is. It's 500 kilometers, 300 miles. That's serious. That's a serious distance. It's actually quite enormous. Ah, don't panic. I'm gonna grab these GPX tracks, which is basically the entire like route navigation, and I'm just gonna upload them to my Coros app and my Coros watch. Basically what happens now is that if I kind of follow the navigation on my watch, it's actually going to alert me. It's gonna like send me like alerts, little pings, to let me know if I've ever like veered off route, which is really useful because I mean, you know, let's face it, like after 6 days out there in the wild, I will be making mistakes. I will be exhausted. So this really will be like an extra layer of safety. The solitude is probably something that I'm looking forward to the most. I think like we could all relate to the fact that, you know, we are constantly connected. We're constantly on our phones, constantly on social media, on Instagram, comparing ourselves, talking to people, communicating, but also sometimes feeling bad about, you know, how our lives are panning out in comparison to everybody else. Like there's almost no respite in today's world from looking and peering into other people's lives. And that can leave us feeling really isolated. So I'm not looking at this as a challenge in solitude. I'm really looking at this as an opportunity to connect to what is real. I'm hoping to connect to the nature around me, you know, simple things like the sky and the clouds and the trail and the snow, things that we are just so disconnected from in our everyday lives. You know, most of us spend more than 95% of our time indoors with artificial light, you know, in air-conditioned rooms. So to be out there truly connected to the real world that exists out there is such a huge privilege. And I am honestly just really excited to be out there alone, just me and my thoughts. It's just, yeah, I see it really as a luxury rather than a challenge. So I'm excited. This is, I guess, my last training session before the big day. I feel like I've been training for this for months though. And honestly, I have. With a sled, without a sled, doing a lot of like endurance and strength training. So I was really, really excited to be able to partner up with Coros and their incredible watches for this challenge. So Coros has actually made this whole training journey a lot easier for me because it's been able to track all of my data from the watch. I've been able to kind of track it on the app and see exactly where I'm at with my training. Right now, it's saying that my training status is at performance level, which is a really good thing. That basically means that I'm ready for a much bigger effort, like a big challenge, like a race. So hopefully that's true, and hopefully I am ready. I definitely feel it. My status is also at full 100% recovery, which means that I have recovered since my last workout and I'm able to take on a bigger challenge. There's a lot of really interesting data in the app, and honestly, the only thing you need to do in order to have access to all of this data is to wear the watch. The app will tell you things like, how well did you sleep last night? You know, things like your average heart rate, how well you've been training, and whether you're ready for a big race. I love the app because honestly, I'm not a very technical person, and while I enjoy the training, I love it, I'm not very good at keeping track of all those things. So it's awesome that the watch and the app paired together can really take that technical and sciencey aspect of training away and translate the data into information that I can really easily understand and that I can also do something about, you know. This is information that I can actually use. So of course I'll be wearing the Coros watch throughout the ultramarathon, in addition to kind of helping me track my progress and my journey and things like my heart rate. It's also going to help me actually stay on trail with some of the navigation features. So I'm really excited about that. Very cool to have a partner like this in this big adventure. Okay, I think I need to start thinking about catching up on my sleep so that I'm ready for tomorrow. At least that's what the app is saying. There comes a point during a race like this where you just get into this intense state of flow. And you're just putting one foot in front of the other. That's the whole mission. All you need to do for that entire time is put one foot ahead of the other. It's, you know, someone referred to this in a really inspiring book that I read as relentless forward progress. That's all you need to do. Just maintain it can be slow, you can be crawling, but as long as you're sustaining that relentless forward progress, you are moving forward. You're making progress.
So I'm Josephine Bush, I'm 55 years old. I live in Bristol on the west coast of England. I was very curious when I first entered a cold weather event. This wasn't the first cold weather event that I'd entered, and I didn't know what it would be like. I think what drove me to do that first one was real curiosity about where my edges were. You know, what are the boundaries of what I'm capable of doing.
All right, so what do we have here?
I think it weighs between about 20 and 25 kilograms. So I like wearing bib trousers. Not everybody likes wearing these, but I do because I get a very cold back. And also I like the big storage pocket there. So yeah, I can put my phone in there and keep my batteries warm. And these are Gore-Tex trainers with studs on.
Oh, nice.
That makes it a bit easier when it's icy. I always have a little pack here to go around waist belt.
Yeah.
All my sweet food. Yeah. That is the highlight of my day. I've got sweets in there that I'm allowed 1 an hour.
Oh!
It keeps me going. You know, a little private secret, which was, I think on all of these events, I always find that there's a moment of like 100% happiness. Like and it's entirely unpredictable when it's going to happen. You know, it could be a day where you're feeling so tired. Like for me, it was after Overcalix. I hadn't slept at all for 3 nights at that point. And I felt quite nauseous when I was setting off from Overcalix. I thought, God, this is going to be a really tough day. How am I going to get to the next checkpoint feeling like this? And then about 4 or 5 hours in, it was really cold and I was going across a lake and I felt completely elated, and it just came from nowhere. It was just this moment, and it lasted about half an hour of just complete and utter joy. It's magical.
Yeah, honestly, like everybody here is from almost like a completely different background. You've got really, really strong, you know, former special forces guys. You've got school teachers. You've got, you know, professional athletes or semi-professional athletes. And then there's people who just, you know, do this once a year as a kind of fun little outing. So I think really the common denominator here is that we all love the Arctic. And we all love being outside. We all love spending time outdoors, and we all love challenging ourselves. And I think that's a really beautiful trait to have in common. So yeah, everybody here just feels like we're all part of this weird, wonky family that has come here from all sides of the world to do this crazy thing that only 12 people every year do. How crazy is that? Ask yourself, okay, so what do you snack on during such a long race? You know, like you're burning so many calories. And the truth is, the things that I snack on are the things that a 6-year-old might choose to snack on, such as Skittles and Haribo, Percy Pigs, various kinds of chocolate. So what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna try and split all this sugar into smaller bags of sugar. Just so I have a little bit of variety every day that I can dig into. It's kind of hard to tell how many calories you'll burn on like an average day, but probably something like 5,000 or 6,000 calories. So it's kind of hard to take in that many calories. I mean, imagine eating 6,000 calories in one day. That's like 3 times what you'd normally eat. So whatever I eat, I am gonna lose weight. I think we're ready. This, ladies and gents, is about 20,000 calories worth of sugar and fat. I call these my pockets of joy. Very excited about this. On a more serious note though, that is not actually all the food that I'm bringing, obviously. This is all the food that I'm bringing. So as you can probably see, for the next up to 10 days, I'll be living off of pouched food. So all of my meals for the next 10 days will come out of bags, which I'm actually weirdly excited about. One meal like this, wow, this is like 1,000 calories in a bag. Part of this race, part of the reason why it's so difficult is because you know you're gonna be exhausted at the end of the day. No matter how much you eat, no matter how much rest you get, you're still gonna be exhausted. It's a very long distance to go. So I think a lot of the strength to complete a race like this, ultimately, it's in here. So this is the strongest muscle that has to pull you along and push you towards the finishing line. Wheelock, my dog, did every single training session with me. Every single run I did, every single hike, every single sled pull that I did in preparation for this race, he was there in all conditions, no matter if it was minus 25 degrees Celsius or plus 10. He was always there. So to not have him here this year just feels, I honestly really miss him. And I know that I'll miss him so much on the trail. It was such a joy to be here last year with him. But again, I just knew that if I came here with him again this year, it could very well end in the same way. You know, I feel like this is a very long distance. This is a lot to ask of a human, but it's even more to ask of a dog that's not used to distances like this. And I feel like I just need to kind of have this space to myself right now and try and complete it on my own terms. It is almost 11:30 p.m. and that means that the race starts in 10 hours, which is really bad news for me because it means that I will not be able to get a very good night's sleep. I can maybe get 6 hours at a stretch, which is fine, that's fine. But you know, I'm just finding it really hard to like allow myself to relax and just switch off, like not be in my inbox and know that I will not be in my inbox and answering emails and available, you know, for work things for the next 10 days. And I want that, I love that, but it's just so hard to let go sometimes. I just need to force myself to go to sleep. Force myself to go to bed. The world will survive without me in my inbox. Right? It's kind of hard to believe that we're actually finally here. I've been waiting for this for a year. The moment you hear that 3, 2, 1, go, you enter a whole different world.
Para mí lo que más me puede preocupar es el frío.
I think the tiredness is tough.
Am I ready?
That looks pretty good.
I think I just gotta go for it. This is not easy. It's not supposed to be easy.